Professor Wood. Oh, welcome, Counselor Olson. Hello, Dr. Hansen, come on in. We're about to begin. All rise.
Here come the judge. Here come the judge. Here come the judge.
You may be seated. Today, we will review information relevant to the case Juliana versus the United States.
Counselor Julie Olson. Since you are co-lead counsel for this case and have been an environmental lawyer for almost 20 years, wow, what concrete harms do you allege that are being caused to the plaintiffs? And why do you consider current environmental laws inadequate? Please enlighten us.
Your Honors, current concentrations of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere are at historically high levels. Global temperatures are projected to increase from 2.5 to 11 degrees Fahrenheit by the year 2100, increasing the risk of extinction of many species, including humans. There has been an increase in asthma, cancer, stroke, heat-related deaths, foodborne diseases, deaths caused by catastrophic storms, and many other life-threatening consequences of global warming. The fact that temperatures continue to rise, despite decades of environmental protections being in place, demonstrates their failure to solve this crisis. We are therefore asking the justice system to protect the constitutional right of the plaintiffs to inherit a climate system capable of sustaining human life.
Professor Mary Wood, you've taught environmental law for decades. What is the public trust doctrine, and how does it apply to your charge that the U.S. government willfully broke that trust, causing harm to the plaintiffs?
Your Honors, the public trust doctrine states that the government is charged with the responsibility to hold in trust the nation's natural resources, including its atmosphere, in perpetuity for the good of the people. The United States government has known of the dangers of climate change for over 50 years. Despite that knowledge, the government has spent taxpayer money to subsidize the fossil fuel industry while inadequately regulating greenhouse gas emissions, causing the aforementioned harms. We ask the court to hold the United States government responsible for these actions.
Yes, we do. Yeah. Dr. James Hansen, you began warning policymakers about the dangers of global warming in 1988. As a climate scientist, you have researched and worked collaboratively with other highly qualified climate scientists to determine remedies for the climate crisis. Tell us what you think the court system can do to cause the U.S. government to redress the harms.
Your Honors, on behalf of the plaintiffs and future generations, and of course I'm including my own children and their descendants, we are asking the court to order the defendants to calculate current U.S. carbon dioxide emissions and to implement an enforceable remedial plan to phase out fossil fuel emissions and draw down excess atmospheric carbon dioxide to a safe level, that is 350 parts per million, in order to prevent irreparable damage to our planet. Unless we do this in the very near future, we lose hope of our survival.
Thank you for your testimonies. Now we need more information about the plaintiffs. Who will present this information?
The raging grannies are prepared to do this. May it please the court, we'll need a little more room in order to proceed. Oyez, oyez! Hear the stories of the 21 brave youth plaintiffs. Once upon a time, there were some children who were living normal, everyday lives when they started noticing the catastrophic events that were impacting their ability to survive. For Jaden, in Louisiana, it was waking up to ankle-deep floodwater in her bedroom. Sophie in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and Victoria in White Plains, New York, watched Hurricane Sandy flood their roads and transportation systems. Journey of Kapa'a, Hawaii, found out that his town will be mostly underwater by the end of the century. And Levi from Satellite Beach, Florida, and Miko, born in the Marshall Islands, worry that sea level rise will eventually swallow their land.
Oh dear, what can the matter be? Losing our beaches in storm surges from the sea. Looks like our town will be drowned in this century. Don't wanna lose all our land.
So, while some kids are worried about sea level rise, others are concerned about much needed water supplies drying up. Jamie and her family had to move from Cameron to Flagstaff, Arizona, because of water scarcity on their land. Nick of Lakewood, Colorado, hadn't been able to fish for 3 years because of wildfires and drought. And Jacob in Roseburg, Oregon, noticed the decreasing supply of water in the irrigation pond on his farm.
Row, row, row your boat till you hit a rock. Water levels dropping here.
Just walk back to the dock.
Meanwhile, Alex of Oakland, Oregon, Nathan in Fairbanks, Alaska, and Sahara of Eugene, who all suffer from asthma, were fighting for breath during record-setting wildfires.
On top of the mountains, it's smoky indeed. From all of the wildfires, it's rain that we need. The drought hurts the forest, they burn the year round. My asthma gets worse and I'm often housebound.
An education is a powerful thing, as these 3 plaintiffs from Eugene can testify. Avery started worrying about animal extinction at age 5 and studied ocean acidification at 5th grade. Hazel found out about climate change and started trying to educate people because it wasn't being taught in her school. And Kelsey works with an organization that teaches kids about sustainability and the environment.
If you go down to the school today, you're in for a big surprise. The kids are learning about their world. It's opened up their eyes. They won't stand by and patiently wait. They know it's time to litigate, even though they know it won't be a picnic.
Yes, as they experienced life-changing events and became informed, their sense of urgency grew, and they began to take action. Zealand of Eugene worries about drought affecting our town's water source, the Mackenzie River. He has advocated before state and local governments. Shatetska of Boulder, Colorado, speaks and performs hip-hop to educate about climate change. Kieran of Eugene goes to school in Seattle and organizes with many groups there. And Aji of Seattle has spoken at rallies and started a lawsuit against the Department of Ecology.
The more we work together, the more we work together, the healthier we'll be. If Congress and scientists and movers and shakers would all just work together, the happier we'll be.
Those grannies sure know how to work together. Collectively, the 21 plaintiffs are members of more than 20 different groups that are fighting to salvage a sustainable climate system. One example is Plant for the Planet, a youth-run organization that has planted more than 14 billion trees worldwide. Isaac, a climate justice ambassador, organized the first Plant for the Planet Academy outside the state of Washington. Yes, these young people walk their talk, and their positive actions give them hope.
I've been checking out the data every chance I get. Watching temperatures are rising, CO2 is up, I bet. Gotta limit all the burning, eat less meat somehow. If we put our minds together, we can start right now. Funding energy that's clean fossil fuels in the ground. Wahoo! Eat a plant-based diet. Oh, come on and try it. Healthy, happy, strong, and free. Wahoo!
Yeah.
Yes, it's hard to keep that kind of optimism going sometimes. These intelligent, observant, active youth also noticed that the legislature has ignored this crisis in favor of pandering to the fossil fuel industry. As Tia of Bend put it, I assumed the government had my best interest in mind. This is not always the case, and I wish I had known sooner what I could have done.
All around the Congress today, a bunch of greedy weasels. They won't protect our basic needs. Out go the weasels. Vote them out in 2018. What purpose are they serving? Stand up for the people's rights. Our planet needs conserving.
So, rather than feel helpless about lack of action by Congress, the youth and the climate scientist joined with the lawyers to ask the courts to intervene on their behalf.
Old Doc Hansen has a case, UT-US Gov, and every plaintiff has a beef. UT-US Gov, with pollution here and lax laws there. Here's some coal, there's some oil everywhere, leaking gas. Old Doc Hansen has a case. UT-US Gov. She's super ready!
I've been in this world for many a year, and when I look around, I shed a tear for the children and their children and their children, 'cause I fear the world's in worse condition than when I got here.
Yes, the world's in worse condition than when we got here.
Temperatures are rising, ocean levels too, 'cause the glaciers are melting, that's what they do. I have to admit, it doesn't look good. There are things we can do if only we would. Oh, hello. Who are you?
I'm Little Red Riding Hood. Oh, Granny, what great big eyes you have.
All the better to look and see the things in the world that need to be made better for kids like you.
Oh, Granny, what a great big mouth you have.
All the better to speak out against stupidity and greed and injustice that hurt kids like you.
Wow, Granny, what a great big hat you have.
Oh, that's just a fashion statement. Us raging grannies, we like to look good.
Who are the Raging Grannies and why are you here?
I am so glad you asked. Our motto is, out of the rocking chairs and into the fire!
organizations.
speak our minds about the threat of climate change. It's everywhere we find. We act because we must to deserve our children's trust. We rage to save the world. Fertile farms are drying up and islands being drowned, while bureaucrats and business people simply stand around. We have to tell our government to keep it in the ground. We rage to save the world. They tell us the economy depends on fossil fuels, but the future of our planet is not looking very cool. We may look like fossils, but we are not fossil fools. We rage to save the world. No more drilling, no more fracking. Time for action, not just yakking. We've left our rocking chairs to show the children that we care.